Yeah, this is a big one. Um, if you haven't taken a look at any of the PTR patch notes or taken a look at any of the videos from the public test room, they have made some changes to combat that are going to be huge for the game, and it's actually got me scratching my head a little bit at how I didn't think that the fix would be this simple. Um, and I use the word fix lightly. They didn't necessarily solve all the problems of the game or anything. There's still, you know, the issues that persist in the game on live are going to still linger in some sense in the game. But the really, really, really big change they made was the change to dodges. So currently on live, when you roll, your stamina bar instantly starts to regain, as long as you haven't completely run your stamina bar out. And the change they made was now when you roll, there's about a 2 to 3 second delay before your stamina starts to regain again. Excuse me, and that has some serious implications on the way that we all play the game right now because pretty much that is the meta for PvP. The only way to kind of survive and get around is by iframing through your dodges. And the problem that kind of arises from this is fights kind of only really happen when the other person wants to fight you. And what I mean by that is the way that the stamina bar works on live, you can pretty much just roll away forever and never have to fight anybody. But this change makes it to where you have to be way more calculated with your rolls because if you do one extra roll, and you have to roll again because the enemy sees that and needs to use an ability, you're going to die. So I have been really, really, really enjoying this change. The other major change is they added honing for Rapier. If you haven't seen, the Rapier is the only melee weapon right now that doesn't have honing. You literally have to aim the weapon, and if you don't, you'll whiff and get caught out unless you have a roll to get out of the animation. But they have added honing to Rapier, so the Rapier now functions like all of the other melee weapons in the game, which just makes me so happy. But we do have a fight in the background here. As you saw, I was on the Ice Gauntlet, but I have switched over to the Fire Staff. And we have the entire enemy team trying to kill our teammate. We get a little poke in with the Rapier, and following up on the damage from our teammate, we get a nasty Incinerate, follow up with the Flesh, and we get the finish off on one of the players there. I try to switch my attention to the tanker as he's kind of low, and you see just a couple of rolls there, and we are out of stamina. Luckily, I do have the burnout to get me out of that situation there, and we had the Gradax player trying to chase us down, but we do get a beautiful parry, land a ton of damage. We try to chase him down, but we do get stunned by the enemy hammer player there, and just trying to keep up our damage and take him out here, but having a lot of fun. I'm so far noticing that it pretty much makes it to where you're forced to make decisions in fight now. You aren't really able to kind of just rely on dodges to keep you out of fights forever. We do end up taking out the secondary player there, so we are just left to the tank. And with his teammates down, it's just going to be a matter of time before we take him out and get a point on the board here. And after switching to the Fire Staff, I feel this definitely works with our team setup a lot more. Team setups are going to be a very, very interesting thing as well. I'm interested to see how the meta kind of settles in because initially I thought healers would be pretty dominant, but I've gotten into quite a few matches to where even if the enemy team has a healer, depending on your composition, 3 DPS can focus down a healer pretty quickly. But we are into the third round here, and I'm just trying to get some damage in and poke from behind this pillar here. And we are starting to get converged on a little bit here. So I just make my way out into the middle a little bit, and I'm just trying to find the best target to focus on. So we burn out to the back here, and I try to focus my attention to the Rapier. You see we bait out the parry there, follow up with the flesh. We get a ton of damage in there. And you see with the tracking of the rapier, we're able to follow up and stay right on him there. Land a huge incinerate, take out the first player there, and we're left to the two. Our teammate gets a beautiful knockdown with the blunderbuss there, and the enemy player does have a entomb to kind of buy himself some time there. But we land another incinerate, finish him off there, and the tank is now left back to himself. It does seem with this setup, it's 2 DPS and a healer versus 2 DPS and a tank, and it's really dependent on who kind of gets the kill first in this matchup, it seems. And I'm gonna go ahead and just do the same thing here and try to play on the outside and see if I can get some pokes in and look for an opening to find here, while our teammates kind of brawl in the middle. I land a couple of fireballs. You see our teammate does get very, very low. He gets a fat heal from our healer though, and I burn out straight into the shower. But we do land the parry and we get a ton of damage in on the tank. But the one thing there with the changes to ice shower are really nice. You don't really feel as stuck as you used to. Being able to dodge in there is very, very nice. But we're trying to focus down the rapier player now. We do get a nice little heal. I was about to go for a incinerate, but you saw we get cancelled there and we do get taken out. Had I been able to cast that incinerate the first time I tried, I think we would have been fine there. But taking all that damage and being forced to try to cast it again, we take too much damage, and even with the healer, you see we do get bursted and we get taken out. But going back to what I was talking about earlier with the healers, it's a heal and a DPS versus 2 DPS down there right now. And if it was on live, our team would definitely win because we have a healer. But as you can see, both of those DPS are trying to focus our healer right now. And because of how crucial those stamina changes are to the dodges, it's really hard to just kind of run away forever. He does barely make it out with the flesh after getting caught in the ice shower there. But even with our healer being on the rapier on the back bar, he's having a hard time to get away. But our teammate does end up taking out the enemy player there, so it's left to a 2v1. But our healer is very, very low. Our DPS does end up bursting his, but you see they're caught in the gravel. He's able to take out our healer and burst our DPS as well. It's down to a very, very, very close 1v1 here. He goes for the charge, but gets caught in the shower. And the enemy DPS wins there. Really, really, really close fight. And despite having a healer, the enemy team is able to win there. And yeah, we're down to the final round. So again, with this team comp, I'm just going to go ahead and try to hug the pillar. See if I can give our Gredex players some supports from the outside and find an opening where I can. We land a couple of light attacks and immediately our melee goes in pretty deep behind the pillar there. But the enemy team does immediately start to focus our healer. So I'm going to go ahead and try to peel for him. He does get caught in a gravel, so we are in a bit of a bind here, but we do get the help. Get the DPS very, very low, so we do kind of turn the tables here a little bit. He chugs a potion. I see that the tank is low, so I try to land and incinerate. But our secondary teammate is getting focused quite hard, so I go ahead and see if I can give him some help. We dive onto the rapier player in the back here. Put in a little bit of damage with the rapier. Get him quite low. He's on the back foot now. Does actually catch the tail end of our flesh with the parry there. But we are able to follow it up and finish him off with the tracking and the evade light attacks of the rapier. Down to a 2v3. I don't want to get too crazy and overextend because you can get bursted and die pretty quickly. But I noticed that our teammate does have the enemy DPS quite low. So I try to follow up with a burnout and just look at the tracking on the rapier there. I'm sorry. It's just so much crazier than it is currently on live. We do end up taking out the DPS, and it does seem that we have secured the win there for a very, very fun match. I'm honestly not really a huge arena person in most MMOs that I play, so I wasn't really over the moon for the announcement of arenas, but I've got to say I've been having a lot of fun. Combined with the changes that they've made, this is a really, really fun game mode because it really brings skill to the ceiling. Mistakes get punished super hard. The combinations that everybody comes up with is going to be very interesting as well. Because like I mentioned, the metas that form around team is going to be something that's going to be super cool to watch. But for the last fight of the video here, we have a straight brawl. No tanks, no heals. Everybody's a DPS. We're running the Ice Gauntlet, so this is going to be a really crazy match. Right out of the gates, I kind of just charge out because I'm running the Gauntlet. I kind of have to get closer. Kind of immediately get charged by the first enemy player there, but we land a parry. Does catch an arrow or two from our teammates, so we get him quite low. We're able to stick right onto him with the Rapier. Proc the Hatchet Ultimate. Again, like I said, I am sorry and I have to keep bringing it up, but the tracking is insane. But we finish off the player there. Our teammate is getting chased by both players. I go in for a light attack, do a little bit of chunk, flashade towards the player that's chasing our teammate. He catches arrows from our third teammate who's in the back there. And like I said, no tanks, no healers. So a very quick round there. And we're able to find the first dub. For the second round here, since we have a pillar close side, I'm going to see if I can find a storm placement when they clump up. And I throw it. I do manage to land it on 2. Our teammate gets a huge crit, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can follow up and get the kill there. But he does have his teammate here, so we're left to a 2v1. We land the parry though. 2 beautiful dodges. We avoid a lot of damage, land the spike, and we almost get the finish off there, but he is able to get away behind the pillar there. He does re-peek though. We get a really good dodge on the bow skill, and we're able to follow up with the flesh for the kill there. We catch a vault kick to the face, but we are able to land the parry, do a ton of damage, follow up with the flesh at the same time, and get a beautiful finish off with the spike for a really nice 2v1 there. One of our teammates did go down, but we are left to just a 2v1 here. We get caught by the crescent sweep. He is under a lot of pressure though in a 2v1. So he does run his stamina out quite a couple of times, and I'm just trying to be patient and not get killed under his Hatchet Ultimate. But our teammate does follow up for a really nice clean round 2 there. And for the final round, we're just going to go ahead and dodge all of these initial bow shots here. Throw a storm just to zone his teammate a little bit and see if we can go for the spear player here. We do end up landing the parry, but I don't fully commit because he does have his teammate behind that pillar just kind of throwing shots into me. And we are under a little bit of pressure, so I jump into that entomb just to get my stamina back. And we jump onto this player and see if we can finish him off before any of our teammates go down. And I am just loving the Rapier with this new tracking. We finish off that player there, turn our attention to our teammates who had already taken out the other one for a really nice finish there. GG's to the enemies there. But yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about this patch, but I will go over it in some future videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and have a great day.